Hello everyone, I'm Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, the Prime Minister pledges to take measures to help cushion the impact of expensive medication for people living with lupus. A local union leader responds to a challenge to take the necessary steps to make a trade union congress a reality, and Dominica enters the new hurricane season with 32 shelters less than the year before. The details coming up.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001-275-5003 today.
First up in the news, Dominicans suffering with lupus have been assured that government is taking steps to get involved in the procurement of the medicines they need to stay alive. Prime Minister Skerritt and his wife met with members of the Lupus Foundation this week, the local organization charged with building awareness about the autoimmune disease. Mr. Skerritt says he realizes that the medication which these people need is often very expensive and plans to do something about it. Lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system becomes hyperactive and attacks normal healthy tissue. This results in symptoms such as inflammation, swelling, damage to joints, skin, kidneys, blood, the heart and lungs.
Many who suffer this dreadful disease find it sometimes difficult because their employers are not sufficiently sympathetic with their prevailing condition. I had the good pleasure, along with my wife, to have met with the association last evening at our residence, and to hear from them firsthand their own personal challenges and the challenges of their colleagues who are suffering from it. And I intend to raise the matter with the Minister for Health, because the drugs which they use, which they need, is exorbitant in price, and it is prohibitive to many of them, so that we need to place these drugs on the ministry's list of procurement.
Prime Minister Skerritt, who is also Minister for Finance, has committed $20,000 to the Lupus Foundation for their education and outreach programs. Thursday was World Lupus Day. A member of the House of Nyabinge has added his voice to renewed calls for the authorities to scrap anti-cannabis laws, advising government to follow Antigua. Idono John Baptist reports.
Attorney Peter Arlene, who subscribes to Rastafarianism, says the issue of legalization of cannabis could serve as a form of reparations for Rastafarian. Arlene's comments come as the government of Antigua prepares to go to Parliament later this year to pass laws allowing the growing, harvesting, processing and sale of marijuana for medical purposes.
Marijuana has always been something special to us. It helps with the communion of man, man being man and woman. Allows us to reason out differences, reason out things in life that would otherwise seem complicated, and a lot of hypocrisy and lies are dispelled. So for us, we're very heartened. It puts a smile on our face to hear Gaston Brown say things to the effect that Rastaman should be at the center of the commercializing of the use of the herb as a form of reparations for the injustices that we have suffered over the past 40 minimum years, maybe more.
CARICOM heads of government established a regional commission on marijuana in March 2014, and to date, only Antigua has acted in decriminalizing up to 15 grams of the plant for private use. Among the regional commission's objectives is to conduct a rigorous inquiry into the social, economic, health, and legal issues surrounding marijuana use in the Caribbean, and to determine whether there should be a change in the current drug classification of marijuana, thereby making it more accessible for all types of uses.
It is a bit surprising that Antigua and St. Kitts would move ahead of places like Dominica and St. Vincent. St. Vincent more so than Dominica. Our feeling in Dominica is that it's the churches, the established churches, that are hindering any discussion towards the easing up of the pressure on persons that use marijuana.
Arlene reasons that government can also consider that the holy herb is a religious sacrament to a large population of Rastas here.
As we say, you pass the chalice around, it brings communion among brethren, among idren, and it allows for a peaceful dialogue of issues. The authorities have a lot of doors open to them. One of the doors is also for medical use. One is for social, recreational use. The other one is for religious purposes. But all these things matter very little to our lives when, on a daily basis, you see young men being dragged before the court for the possession of 8 grams, 9 grams, or 15 grams, 25 grams. 25 grams of marijuana, first of all, it's dried marijuana, so the weight is very light. 25 grams can give you about 2 spliff. You can smoke that in half an hour.
And leader of the Dominica Amalgamated Workers Union, Leah Shillingford, has responded to a challenge by Thomas Later, saying that putting the house in order to reform or form a TUC would not be a problem. Here again is Isidona John Baptist.
This week, trade unions came under fire from Thomas Later, the Public Service Union's General Secretary. He thinks unions were not serious about a trade union congress, citing a lack of structure within the organizations. However, the acting General Secretary of DAO says her union is prepared to get matters related to formation of the Congress off the ground.
That's not a problem. Putting the house in order is something that can be done very easily. The DAO has been speaking about a joint trade union congress for many years. As I have said before, even at the time of Anthony Frederick Joseph, who is now deceased. So it has been, and many of the meetings that we have had have been right here at the WAU's office. And it still continues to today.
Many years ago, how long ago are we talking about it?
Perhaps 40 years. Yeah, the DAO has represented National Bank and HHVB Church for 40 years.
Even as Shillingford met with the leaders of PSU and the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union recently, on 2 separate occasions, to discuss formation of the Congress, she pointed out that they, including her union, are still not ready.
Well, I think from last year they were still not ready, but I think for looking at May 2018, I think they should be ready right now. We cannot continue like that. So if they were not ready from last year, they should be ready from this year.
While the trade unionist admits that DAO has lost its core membership, she still says that getting systems in place on their end for the TUC will not be complicated.
For the DAO, it's not difficult. We function a little different from the PSU and the WAU in that we do not have the quorum and like we had in the past, because DAO represented the banana workers, and we had these stations over Dominica everywhere, and that's gone. My position is acting, so it's not formalized, okay, General Secretary acting. So I do not have to follow all of the protocol. So it's different, but we are still very vibrant and very important, and we are functioning.
Lamenting the turnout at May Day celebrations, Shillingford says trade unions should at least collaborate to host a major activity next year.
If we do not have it come in its completion by May 2019, we, the leaders of the unions, have always come together in agreement on certain decisions and policies that affect the entire nation. So May Day is one I think that we can come together and at least have a very positive May Day 2019, irrespective of the fact that we may not be fully pledged as a joint trade union congress.
And grappling with widespread destruction of tree crops, the Dominica Export-Import Agency DEXIA is focusing on increasing the production capacity of root crops. Head of DEXIA's Export Promotion and Development Department, Lloyd Pascal, says the necessary support has been given to farmers to grow yams and white potatoes.
Although we were unable to export as much, but I recall just after Mario we were able to send a container of dashing out to the US. You see, we already had this in line for exporting, so that was something that we just had to do. But in terms of our tree crops, things like plantains, all that got affected. We are now getting back into production of yams. We have some contracts that we have set out with farmers for the production of yams. We are also working with farmers for the production of white potatoes, and that is in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture as well, and a Propel project.
Hot pepper has been identified as a lucrative export crop, and DEXIA is working with farmers to expand that sector.
Another area that we could mention is that of the hot peppers. Although a lot of the crops were damaged after hurricane, we are now able to distribute planting material again. We have actually distributed up to 10,000, up to 11,000 seedlings to farmers, and that's ongoing. We have another batch of seedlings that are going to be ready in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So the program is continuing, the hot pepper program. So all of these areas are areas that DEXIA is focusing on to try to bring back our production and to assist our farmers and our producers so that we can again access our markets and produce, the top quality products that we are accustomed to doing.
DEXIA has also stepped in to strengthen agro-processors' hands at accessing raw material, the most recent effort being an order of 11,000 pounds of cocoa beans from Grenada.
It is a very big challenge still, because a lot of our manufacturers are still not able to find the raw material, especially agricultural raw material, to conduct their business. For us at DEXIA, we were able to bring in some cocoa beans to assist some of our cocoa stick vendors or persons who are actually trading cocoa in cocoa products. For example, you have Linvor, who does the cocoa powder, and we were able to bring in some cocoa for him. There's other people who do chocolates here. We have 2 persons who actually do chocolates here. We were able to bring in some product as well for them. So there are a lot of other people who want to bring in certain items. So we're trying to see how we can work with them and the Ministry of Agriculture to facilitate that so that they can get their businesses going again.
Businessman Parry Bellot, who has been a long-time advocate of funding for small business, has welcomed the recent passage of a bill to create a credit guarantee corporation. It's a harmonized piece of legislation in that it is being implemented in the member countries of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, ECCU.
The procedures involved, I'm not sure that the micro industries that they say they can help will really qualify under this kind of procedure. But certainly smaller ones, when I say smaller ones, 5, 10, 15, 20 employees, definitely could qualify. And it's a great boost because credit is always a problem, especially for small business.
Bellot says this new piece of legislation has been 3 or 4 years in the making because of bureaucracy. You are watching Channel 5 News. We will continue after this.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
Thank you for staying with us. Dominica will be entering the 2018 hurricane season with 32 less shelters on the list. Andrea Louis explains.
In 2017, the country activated 140 shelters ahead of Hurricane Maria, and the Category 5 storm affected several of these buildings, rendering some unfit for use in the 2018 hurricane season. Acting Local Government Commissioner, who is also chairperson of the Emergency Shelters Subcommittee of NEPO, Glenroy Toussaint, says a list of 108 shelters will be published later this month.
For the 2018 season, because of the destruction of Hurricane Maria, a number of shelters were either destroyed, extensively damaged, or some received minimal damage. And so we have come down from 140 in 2017 to 108 shelters for the 2018 season, a reduction of 32 shelters. We're still heavily reliant on schools. We have 34 of those schools. We have 28 churches. We have 18 homes. And of course, we have 28 community centers or related buildings. So are heavily reliant on churches, schools, and community facilities.
Outside of the Hurricane Maria factor, the behavior of those seeking shelter has led to owners of certain buildings refusing them to be used as shelters this year.
One of the major things, though, is that a number of the shelters are churches. And although to some extent some of them were impacted, there are those that got minimal damage. And so it sort of limited the churches in having the normal services. So we have had to sort of had discussions with them. We've had to ask them in good faith and we understand clearly, the challenge. And not only that, I don't think the churches have that difficulty though. The problem is the activities that were being undertaken by the shelteries. People don't respect the belief and custom of the churches. The church, they would smoke on the compound, they would use foul language. They would indulge in activities that is not of the church, and so the church has its concern. As we speak, we still have people at churches, and that continues to be a major challenge for us.
Almost 8 months after Hurricane Maria, there are over 300 people still occupying 29 shelters across the country.
So we still have 330 people being sheltered as we speak, just a few weeks from the 2018 hurricane season, and that in itself, we have had to provide, for their needs. One of the things that was done to sort of ease the burden on the schools is that 4 longhouses were built at the back of the National Stadium. With a few weeks away from the 2018 season, there's still a challenge of caring and catering for the 330 people that are 29 shelters, and some of those shelters are churches. So we really want to recognize the church authorities. Some of those shelters are private homes, and we really want to recognize the efforts of those persons who continue to give their homes.
The 330 people still in emergency shelters fall in 3 categories: those whose homes were destroyed, those who were renting, and those who were squatting. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
The Minister for Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development is optimistic that new legislation passed in Parliament this month will help create a more favorable environment for small business owners seeking financial assistance. The establishment of the Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee Corporation is expected to increase the availability of financing to create, expand and modernize the micro, small and medium enterprises. These enterprises, while vulnerable, they often have the potential for sustainability, growth and job creation.
This would really serve to address a core issue that affects small and micro as well as medium businesses, where often you'd like to access resources, but you are unable to do so because you may have no guarantee. So the government, in its wisdom, has signed on to this agreement, and we have put the legislation in place, which would result in more people, more MSMEs being able to access necessary credit to expand their business, to set up their businesses. So a number of our entrepreneurs in Dominica and the OECS will be able to establish, expand businesses and contribute to job creation, income for themselves, increase goods and services, and actually to assist in expanding the economy of Dominica.
The credit guarantee scheme is part of a regional mechanism for the OECS. It's difficult for small business owners to access loans from banks and credit unions for startups and for expansion. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has been commended for this instrument, which is expected to facilitate growth and sustainability of small and medium-sized enterprises across the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. In other news now, government's establishment of a rapid response social recovery agency has been and will most likely continue to be a source of controversy for the opposition. Channel 5 News got an indication of the opposing views on the Rapid Response Agency when we spoke with a member of Parliament recently during parliamentary debate on the issue. Government and opposition do not see eye to eye on the measure which was passed in Parliament. Government's aim is to create an agency to provide urgent public support and relief to those in need and for related matters. But the opposition EWP has a different view.
We have some serious concerns with it. We have 7 areas that they want to bring in under that rapid response. You talk about health, education, natural disaster, drainage, education. 7 areas, and I think only 2, the health component and the assistance after natural disaster. These are the 2 areas you'll find you need a real rapid response. Health, within hours you need to assist somebody to move out or to get some funding to assist them, right, save a life. So that is important. Assistance after a hurricane. We had Hurricane Maria, and a lot of people still need assistance. People who got money from the insurance. Some people were underinsured. Some people do not know where to start. But we have materials in the rainy season already, and we have materials there, G-Meat, at the Windsor Park, at the Public Works area compound, and also Longhouse. And people want materials to fix their homes or to shelter, cover their homes, or part of their home before the hurricane, the rainy season begin. And these are the type of concerns that we have. Education, assisting somebody with funding for education, that cannot be a rapid response. Poverty alleviation cannot be a rapid response. Repairing of drains cannot be a rapid response. You know, assisting somebody with house renovation cannot be a rapid response. You have to go through a process, do some estimates, do this, and get the proper estimates done, get the contractor and everything, and make sure that the person get the materials that they need to repair their homes. That is not rapid response. You have the NMP program. You want to move some people from that temporary job to something more sustainable. That is a progression. So you're eliminating the poverty alleviation, but it's a process. You know, and these are the type of concerns that we have, and our concerns are genuine.
John says the notion that the EWP is opposed to assisting people in need is false.
We have never been against assistance to other to Dominicans in need, but you have to go through the proper channel. You have the welfare department, you have the housing department as well, who deal with building materials and whatnot. The welfare department deal with some social issues. Empower them, give them the human resource capacity to do that, give them the funding to do that, but do not just take it out, because you're going to have a few people seriously that will need the government intervention in terms of making big decisions and quick decisions in terms of the amount of money, and that is understandable. But you're going to have what you're saying, that the agent you're creating, that is parallel with the economic situation, economic realities today. A lot of people just need the government to assist them. They need this government because they're not financially independent. They're dependent on the government to get the assistance. And these are the type of things we brought out from our side to say that we would like to see it remain in the same area, but empower these, as I said, the welfare department, housing, and the others to ensure that people get the assistance that they need on time. And it will, Dominicans on a whole know where to go, and they will not be discriminated, not going to the Prime Minister's office under the red clinic, but ensure that they go to, as I say, welfare, housing, and other areas for the assistance, and even education, go to the Ministry of Education, and they get the support that they need.
And Deputy Secretary General of CARICOM is confident the RBM system will help Dominica attain its goal of becoming the first climate-resilient country in the world. During a media briefing this week, Dr. Suknandan said the results-based management system, RBM, can be used to hold government accountable to achieving its objectives in its climate resilience thrust. She made reference to a ceremony on Thursday where government signed a $65 million loan agreement with the World Bank.
Mention was made of the climate resilience, right, and timely delivery. And then you have two areas mentioned, and was agriculture, housing. RBM then is going to track all the activities. You will have to monitor and evaluate, leading towards the result. In that process, when you see risk is also involved in it, when you will notice that, okay, but wait a minute, we don't have the people on board, or in getting the finances there are hiccups, what can I start to do to change certain things, to adapt, to adjust? You don't wait till the end. You start in between so that you can still meet your deadline, your target.
The Deputy Secretary General gave the example that the monies being donated by the international community can also be tracked through the RBM to measure the level of assistance to and impact on the Dominican people.
You can also quantify it. You can say then that the government of Dominica has invested this amount in these people, but it will have other side effects, impact. Hope, I assume positive, because if the government now is responsible for housing, these people don't have to invest or partially invest in it. The rest of the money goes where? They can do other things with it. It comes back in the economy of Dominica, or they can invest in another way. So it might be a saving, or it might be generation of extra income, depending on how they invest.
The team from the CARICOM Secretariat wrapped up its two-day RBM sensitization visit to Dominica on Friday.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
To end the news, the headlines again. The Prime Minister pledges to take measures to help cushion the impact of expensive medication for people living with lupus. A local union leader responds to a challenge to take the necessary steps to make a trade union congress a reality. And Dominica enters the new hurricane season with 32 less shelters than the year before. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You can access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Do have a great weekend, and to all mothers, let's just wish you a happy and blessed Mother's Day.